AI will never be worse than it is right now. And if you assume any rate of improvement over any reasonable time period, learning how to use AI should become your number one priority, your number two priority, number three priority, and your number 10 priority.
I think that every business in the future, just like they have an email address and a website and a social media presence today, I think every business is going to have an AI agent.
The era of personalized agents, very capable agents, which are helping you with many, many things, that will play out for everyone. And so that's the exciting phase ahead.
So everybody's talking about AI agents. Everybody's talking about how you need to start replacing existing functionalities, existing employees with agentic workflows. But very few people are explaining how to actually start, how to physically do this if you're starting from scratch and you don't know anything about AI agents. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the framework of somebody who has operationalized how to do this. And this is Alex Hormozi, one of the most trusted people in the business advice space. This is somebody who has verified tens of $1 million exits for multiple companies. This is somebody who has a business right now that's verified doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue, and one of the most informational people that you can listen to when it comes to just getting real definitions and actionable advice. So let's take a look at the framework that he's using. After we hear what he's going to tell us, I'm going to break down a real example of how you can apply this framework and how I have applied this framework to a business that I had, to a mobile app, in order to achieve a real use case that used to take hours or would have cost me hundreds of dollars if I wanted to outsource it to an employee. But I was able to actually do it using a Claude Cowork agent, and it really didn't take that long to set up. So after we go through his framework and we listen to his words, we're going to go over that, and I'm going to break down how you can do the same thing for your business or for a client's business. So here's what Alex had to say about using AI agents in your business.
You have to stop thinking in role-based thinking and start thinking in workflow-based thinking. So let's break this down tactically. For every hire that you're considering, you want to write down the 4 to 6 things or 8 things or 10 things that that person actually does with their hands and their eyes and like in their mouth, does stuff. All right. And then ask whether each of those activities could live inside of a workflow instead of headcount. And so the old thinking or the old paradigm is I need to hire an editor. The new thinking or paradigm is what are these 5 things an editor actually does that creates a video? Write down a list of what you do every day. And I'm saying at the most granular level. You respond to emails, you respond to Slack messages, maybe you make content, maybe you make ads, you run ads. You have to separate these out into individual tasks. Like what's the task, right? Don't think it chunked up. Don't think I run ads. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff underneath of that, right? You make campaigns, you set budgets, you analyze results, you make the creative, you write copy, you test different landing pages, you test different headlines on the pages. There's lots of things that are underneath of that bucketed term of like, I run ads, right? Take all of the tasks and then look at those tasks and take the first one and put it into AI and say, help me automate this. What steps would you take? It'll give you a list. And then take the first thing on the list and do it. And then screenshot the next year and say, what do I do now? And it'll tell you.
So he broke it down pretty simply. Take any business functionality that needs to be done, break it up into steps, define these steps clearly, and basically feed these steps to AI and make sure that it's able to do them correctly. So now let's take a look at this advice in an actual use case. Before we get into the workflow walkthrough, if you're a business owner and you want some help assessing areas where you can apply AI agents in your own business, make sure to book a free AI audit. The link will be in the description. And if you're somebody who's looking to learn more when it comes to building agents, setting up full agentic workflows, check out the paid school community. There's full build outs with instructions and prompts and everything you need to get started. If you're somebody who's just slightly curious about learning more about AI agents, make sure to check out the free school community. There's resources and basically videos on how to get started and think about AI agents. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this agentic workflow demo. So to give you guys some more context, this is a Instagram scraper that's finding influencers to reach out to for brand deals, and it's reaching out to these influencers to promote an app, and the app is basically in the self-improvement niche. It's an app designed to help people build social skills and deal with social anxiety. So going into building out this workflow, I had a couple criteria in my head. I needed the influencers to be of a certain size, so I determined that I wanted them to be pulling at least 5,000 views on average across their posts in order for it to even make sense to even sign them on to retainers to have them promoting the app. I wanted them to be in the self-improvement niche, and I wanted them to have a way to contact them. So basically I wanted them to have emails in their bio, so that I could have another agent do email outreach to these people and basically book them for meetings with me. This is the workflow that I built out in order to basically verify those 3 steps and then collect all this creator information and transfer it into a Google Sheet. Now, for visual purposes, I put this into a flowchart, but you don't need to create a flowchart anytime you want to create an agent. It'll help you like visualize and think things out, but it is an extra step that you don't necessarily have to take. You just have to, typically when I originally created this, I just wrote down what I wanted in a Google Doc, and then I fed it to Claude, and I basically worked with Claude to get basically to build a skill that an agent could run over and over and get results. But these are the steps that me and Claude came up with. The first step, and the reason that I chose Claude Cowork to begin with, was that I needed a physical Chrome browser. There are tools like OpenClaw and Hermes, but the way I have my OpenClaw and Hermes set up, they're on virtual servers. So they're not making connections from a physical device. And Instagram can tell that. They can tell when a request is coming from a headless server that's not an actual human just on Chrome searching up Instagram. And they typically block those connections that are coming from what they view as robots. So in order to actually get to the Instagram website without getting blocked, I needed to operate a actual real Chrome window on a real computer. And this is what Claude Cowork is great for. They have a extension called Claude in Chrome, which basically if you download that onto your Chrome browser, you can basically just give Claude permission to use your browser and complete tasks. So this is exactly what I did, and it's the reason I chose Claude Cowork for this particular agent. But the first step was to open Chrome, then navigate to Instagram, then verify that I was in the correct account. That's another benefit of using Claude. You can basically just log into your Instagram account and then just have Claude just open up Instagram, and you'll already be logged in. You don't have to give Claude any credentials or anything like that to have it log in. So that was another reason why Claude was a good choice or Claude Cowork specifically was a good choice for this particular agent. So after the agent was logged in, I needed to verify that it was in the correct account. I had 2 different accounts because I had 2 different apps, and each one was trained on a different type of content to make it easier to find creators. So I verified that I was in the correct account. Then I had it navigate to the topic search and search from a list of topics. I had 5 self-improvement adjacent topics, and I basically just had it iterate through these topics in order to perform searches and find the creators that pop up. So after it searched the topic, his job was basically to iterate through 120 posts on this topic. And for each post, it was supposed to navigate to the creator account, read their bio, and then ask a couple of questions. So the first question is, does the creator have a email in their bio? Because if they don't, nothing else matters, because we can't contact them. There's nothing to give to the next agent to actually send a message with. So that's the first question. If it's no, then proceed back to the topic search and select the first unprocessed post. So that would be the next post in the list. But if they did have an email in their bio, then the next question is the creator in the self-improvement niche? So we can just read their bio, see what they're all about, see what they teach. And this is the beauty of AI. AI can read their bio and determine if they meet the necessary criteria. And if they do, then we'll proceed to the next step, which would be opening the creator's Reels gallery and reading the view counts of the 4th through 9th posts. Now, it's the 4th through 9th post because we want to get an accurate picture of how their views are doing. The first 3 posts are going to be pinned. Those are typically going to be their highest performing posts. So if we use those posts to calculate the average, then the average is going to be skewed higher than it actually is. So instead, I had Claude read the 4th through 9th, the view counts for the 4th through 9th post to basically get a real read on the average amount of views a creator was pulling. Then I had it calculate the average, and if the average is over 5,000, then that's basically the third criteria. They have the email, they're in the self-improvement niche, and they're pulling over 5,000. This is somebody who we can reach out to, somebody we can do a brand deal with. And then after that, Claude's job is to append a new Google Sheets row with creator information. I already had a Google Sheet created with basically a column for the name, a column for the Instagram handle, a column for the average amount of views, and I believe a column for the email. So then I had Claude basically open that Google Sheets and add another row to the sheet. And then it would go back to the first unprocessed post and repeat all the steps again for 120 posts and then stop. So that's basically the flow. Now let me perform a little demonstration on how it actually works live in action. So right here, we are actually in Claude Cowork. It's a scheduled task, and basically the way that you create scheduled tasks is you create a set of instructions. So if you see these instructions, you'll basically see everything that we laid out in the flow chart, the prerequisites that basically check that I'm logged into the right account, the goal to process 120 posts, the qualifying criteria. They must have a bio with a public email address. They must be a self-improvement creator, and they must have over 5,000 views. We have the self-improvement topics: self-improvement, how to stop gooning, 5 habits ruining your life, how to become more confident, how to improve your appearance as a man. We start with topic 1, and then we basically iterate through the topics as necessary. There's a repetitive feed rule, which I didn't talk about, but that's basically like if we're getting too many repeated posts. But the step-by-step is navigate to Instagram, perform an account check, open the first result, loop over the post, check the bio, check the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th videos in the gallery, calculate the average. Basically everything that we laid out, I typed out a short brief, and then I gave it to Claude. Claude elaborated and came up with this detailed prompt that basically checks all the boxes and makes sure that everything is done. So let's go ahead and run it and see it in action. So first thing it has to do is load the tools. As we can see, it's using Claude and Chrome. It just opened up this self-improvement scraper. Just open up this tab itself in the browser. It's adding some tasks. Now it's navigating to Instagram.com. Now it takes screenshots to verify what it's seeing. and basically complete the steps. Is check that the account is correct. I just made a random account, like this is just a random username that I came up with. And okay, so it's checked, it's passed the account check. Now it's searching for topic 1. It's navigating to the search bar. And now it's about to search a topic. And then if we look down here, we can see like what it's actually doing, or we can see the screenshots that it's taking and the progress that it's making. But as you can see, it's made the search. It's waiting on the thumbnails to load. Took a little minute, but it loaded the grid and started the search. It just came across the first creator. It's found their bio, and now it's looking for a business email. So it actually found an email. They did have an email in their bio. Now it will go through and check for the other criteria. They're content qualified. They're in men's lifestyle / self-improvement. So now the last check is just to see if they're pulling over 5,000 views on average. But right now the Reels tab is loading. Looks like it just finished loading based on this screenshot that we're. Okay, so they had 8,000 views on average. Now, the only thing is this particular agent, like sometimes it decides to log the creators immediately after it finds them. Sometimes it likes to batch them and then add them to a Google Sheet later. Looks like this run it's deciding to batch them and add them to a Google Sheet later. But you get the idea of how it works, and basically kind of how to think about using an AI agent. So hopefully this video has showed you the power of using AI. This was just one use case on one agent. There are a bunch of different frameworks, other frameworks that you can use to do a bunch of different other things. But now you kind of get a high level overview of how to think about planning out the tasks that you want done, how to break them into steps, how to plan out these steps, and basically kind of what these steps look like when they're applied by an actual AI agent for a real business use case. Hopefully now you see the value. You see that this has literally saved me hours of time, hours that it would have took to go through and scroll Instagram and click on all these profiles and see if they have links in their bio, and then log the creators' emails into a spreadsheet. And even if I were to outsource this to a VA, say that I was going to pay a VA $4 an hour and have them work like 20 hours a week, that's still going to be $80 a week. That's still going to be $320 a month, as opposed to a Claude Max plan, which is $100 a month. And you can run way more workflows than this. So hopefully now you can see the value of just using AI. This is one small use case, and this is just one half of a bigger use case. I have another agent on the back end that's pulling the Google Sheets and then sending outreach emails to these creators and coordinating with them and booking meetings to get them onto retainers. So hopefully now you see the value. If you're interested in learning, if you want to see the full workflow from building this to setting up the email one as well, that's in the paid community. I built the whole thing out, the whole flow out live, and added documents on how to follow along and added scripts and all of that. That's in the paid school community. If you're just looking to get started with AI agents, period, check out the free community. There's resources, there's guides in there. And if you're not interested in actually doing this stuff yourself, if you just want somebody to set up agentic workflows for your business, then book a free AI audit that will also be in the description below.